The Millionaire Next Door, The Surprising Secrets of America's Wealthy is a book by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko that summarizes the results they concluded while conducting what at the time was the biggest research on millionaires to date in the USA. The main goal of the research was discovering who the wealthy are, who they're not, and how ordinary people can also become wealthy. In this video we will go over the key takeaways and lessons from the Millionaire Next Door, but before we do, feel free to subscribe for more money, motivation and business related content. Takeaway number 1. Misconceptions about millionaires. Surveying people discovered that many of the people who drive luxury cars and live in fancy neighborhoods, they don't really have a lot of wealth, while many people who have a lot of wealth don't even live in fancy neighborhoods. Wealth is not good income. If you have good income and spend it all, you're not wealthy, you're just living high. Wealth is what you get to keep, not what you spend. The amount of households earning good income is very high compared to the amount of wealthy people, yet many of the high income earners still live paycheck to paycheck. Luck, advanced degrees and intelligence are not ways to get money. It's a result of lifestyle of self-discipline. More than 80% of millionaires are first generation wealthy, and they acquired it slowly and steadily. Building wealth takes hard work, sacrifice and discipline. Despite the fact many people are really not willing to adjust their lifestyle to achieve the goal of financial independence. The portrait of a millionaire that pretty much everyone has in their mind is actually not what an average millionaire looks like. Most millionaires don't wear designer clothes or fancy watches. They don't drive new or luxury cars. Most are homeowners and they rarely eat overpriced foods or at fancy restaurants. Most are well educated, but only 17% have attended private schools. Education is important for them. They budget and live on a 7% or less of their yearly income with an emergency fund. They invest on average about 20%, but at least 15% of their income and rarely sell their equities. The amount of millionaires is growing much faster than the general population. Being wealthy is not having an abundance of material possessions. Instead, it's owning appreciable assets rather than displaying a high consumption lifestyle. There are 7 common denominators among millionaires. They live below their means. They allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently to build wealth. They believe that financial independence is more important than looking rich. Their parents did not provide economic outpatient care. Their adult children are economically self-sufficient. They are proficient in targeting market opportunities. They chose the right occupation. Takeaway number 2. How did millionaires become wealthy? Most people who became millionaires have confidence in their own abilities. They don't believe that they have to be born wealthy. Meanwhile, those who do believe in that think they can never become wealthy and make it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Most millionaires are goal-oriented and have a clearly defined set of goals ranging over different time spans. Being frugal lets them save and invest more. A frugal household making, for example, $100,000 per year can invest way more than another household making the same amount but spending a significantly higher portion of it. Investing more also lets your investments generate more money, thus accelerating the compounding process. Allocating time and money in the pursuit of looking superior often has predictable outcome, inferior economic achievement. The problem of supporting a lavish lifestyle is that without investing you can only support it for as long as the income remains the same or keeps growing. The press sensationalizes lavish lifestyle of some millionaires simply because it makes an interesting article or a TV show. If they wanted to promote the actual lifestyle of an average millionaire, not many people would be interested in reading or watching such a thing. The need for immediate gratification makes lavish people spend any increases in their income, and many of them actually live paycheck to paycheck despite being high income earners. They don't really accumulate wealth, and if they lose their income or it gets significantly reduced, they will go broke. Supposes of prodigious accumulators of wealth are even more frugal. Most people will not be able to become wealthy in one generation if they marry somebody wasteful. Playing good offense is as important as playing good defense if you want to win the game. Most millionaires become millionaires by being frugal and budgeting, and they also remain millionaires by keeping those habits. Why does a person with six-pack keep exercising? Well, that's how they got the six-pack, and they keep doing it to keep the six-pack. There are some millionaires who don't budget, but still the great majority of them pay themselves first, and almost all of them know exactly how much money they spend and what they spend it on. Income is not designed just to spend. You must understand the importance of investing. Even small change invested regularly over a long period of time can grow into wealth. How long could you live off of your current wealth if you stopped working today? Millionaires optimize their taxes by minimizing income taxes, because they end up making more money from their investments instead. Value appreciates, but they don't realize the gains. The higher the one's net worth, the better they are at minimizing realized income. Takeaway number 3. PAWs and UAWs. Your age times the pre-tax annualized income from all sources except inheritance divided by 10 minus any inherited net worth is what your net worth should be. In other words, your expected amount of wealth. If your result is double this, you are a PAW, prodigious accumulator of wealth. And if it's half or less, then you are a UAW, under accumulator of wealth. Characteristics of UAWs. Spending money simply to impress others, not investing their money, not realizing that small expenses pile up as well as small investments, rising the amount of money they spend as their income rises, buying and hoarding items that they never use. UAWs want to display a high status lifestyle. PAWs on the other hand need to achieve, create wealth, become financially independent and build something from scratch. Competitive people might want to change when they realize they are under accumulators of wealth, and others are better in them in that regard. Being a well-educated high-income earner does not automatically translate into financial independence. You'll never become financially independent without purchasing investments that appreciate in value and/or generate cash flow. For every one doctor that's a PAW, there are 2 that are UAWs. Degrees also represent status symbols that are traps that tend to keep well-educated people poor. They often think that they have to look successful in order for others to think they are, and are very prone to keeping up with the Joneses. Living in a fancy neighborhood while you're anticipating becoming wealthy can rob you of being wealthy. If you want to become wealthy, never buy a home that requires a mortgage that requires more than 2 times your household's annual total realized income. Living in a less fancy area will also make it way more easy to keep up with the Joneses. Here's a fun fact. Asking a mortgage broker to estimate how expensive your mortgage can be is pretty much like asking a fox to estimate the number of chickens in your coop. Worrying about things instead of acting is not gonna help you in any way. If you can't control your spending, you are unlikely to accumulate wealth. You can start by keeping records of every penny that you spend and categorizing expenditures so you can set up a budget. PAWs spend way more time planning their investments, but planning is useless if you don't act. Even the best financial plans are useless if you don't follow them. Only 9% of millionaires hold their investments for under 1 year. They are not active traders. View your financial advisors like employees for your households and evaluate them carefully. More than 80% of millionaires also buy their vehicles instead of leasing. Kids of UAWs are usually never able to earn income that can support their consumption. Without the help of their parents, they will never become independent. They often need financial support up to their late 40s or even early 50s, and compete with their siblings for financial support from their parents. PAWs, on the other hand, tend to produce children that will become PAWs themselves and be independent very soon after they start working. Takeaway number 4. Economic outpatient care. Economic outpatient care, EOC, are substantial financial gifts adult children get from their parents. Parents who provide significant EOC have way less wealth compared to others with the same income and age. The more money adult children receive, the less money they end up accumulating. On the other hand, those who receive less end up accumulating more. It's much easier to spend other people's money than the money you make yourself, so it promotes consumption, and this is why receivers of EOC usually end up being permanently dependent on it. Covering education, medical or dental expenses for children or grandchildren and buying homes for them is, by the way, also EOC. The main problem with EOC is the fact that adult children get to live way above their means, on a level they could never afford themselves, and frequent EOC that keeps coming in destroys their productivity. Why would you be productive and earn your money if it keeps appearing out of nowhere? And this drags on until EOC giver cannot provide anymore. Most of the gift receivers end up having less net worth than the average person in the same profession and age that didn't receive any gifts, as they end up confusing their parents' wealth with their own and think they're well off. They forever live emotionally and financially dependent upon their parents. Teach your children to achieve, not just consume. Receivers of EOC also often live on credit used for consumption and wait for inheritance to cover it. Teach your children to be frugal and live on their own. Don't train them to be children forever. You don't want to turn your children into underachievers that are consumption-oriented. Discipline and behavior can't be purchased, and the results of EOC are clear. Takeaway number 5. Is being self-employed risky? Many of the affluent are self-employed and/or business owners. This, however, doesn't mean that you have to be self-employed or own a private business to become a millionaire. Also, you most certainly don't need to be a doctor or a lawyer. The affluent own a wide variety of dull normal businesses and they are their own bosses. Starting a business is risky, but it does come with some great benefits. You control your own business and are not working for a random employer. You can solve any problem that bothers you. There are no limits on the amount of money you can make. You gain knowledge and experience every day by facing risk and adversity. To be a business owner, you have to have the desire to be self-employed. If you don't like that, the idea of entrepreneurship might not be for you. The most successful business owners enjoy being self-employed and take pride in it. They also enjoy what they do and keep doing it even when they don't need the extra money. Many entrepreneurs still face fear every day. It doesn't go away and they are not immune to it. But they overcome it, that's why they're successful. To summarize, misconceptions about millionaires. Most millionaires don't wear designer clothes or fancy watches. They don't drive new or luxury cars. Most are homeowners, and they rarely eat at overpriced restaurants or eat fancy foods. Instead, they live below their means and allocate their time, energy and money efficiently to build wealth. They believe that financial independence is more important than looking rich. Their parents did not provide economic outpatient care, their adult children are economically self-sufficient, they are proficient in targeting market opportunities, and they choose the right occupation. How did millionaires become wealthy? Well, they did it with confidence in their own abilities, being frugal, being goal-oriented, and having a clearly defined set of goals ranging over different time spans. Choosing spouses with the same life goals and optimizing their taxes. PAWs and UAWs. Your age times pre-tax annualized income from all sources except inheritance divided by 10 minus any inherited net worth is what your net worth should be, or your expected amount of wealth. If the amount is double this, then you are a PAW. If it's half or less, then you are a UAW. PAWs need to achieve, create wealth, become financially independent, and build something from scratch. UAWs want to display a high-status lifestyle. Kids of UAWs usually are never able to earn the income that can support their consumption. Without the help of their parents, they will never be independent. PAWs, on the other hand, tend to produce children that will become PAWs themselves and be very independent as soon as they start working. Economic outpatient care. Economic outpatient care are substantial financial gifts adult children get from parents. Parents who provide significant EOC have way less wealth compared to the others with the same income and age, and receivers of EOC usually end up being permanently dependent on it. Most of the gift receivers also end up having less net worth than the average persons in the same profession and age that didn't receive any gifts, as they end up confusing their parents' wealth with their own and think they're well off. Is being self-employed risky? Yup, starting a business is risky, but it does come with some great benefits. To be a business owner, you have to have the desire to be self-employed. If you don't like the idea, entrepreneurship might not be for you. Many entrepreneurs enjoy what they do, but they still face fear every day. It doesn't go away and they're not immune to it, but they overcome it. That's why they're successful. Thank you for watching, and I really hope this video was useful to you. I'll leave affiliate links in the description so you can also support the channel with no additional cost to you if you want. As a final note, let me just clarify that this is a summary of a book. It's not any kind of advice. You and only you are responsible for the consequences of your own actions. With that out of the way, there's one new book summary out every week, and much more investing and motivation related content is on the way, so feel free to leave suggestions to which book I should be reading next. Also feel free to subscribe for more content, leave a like on the video so more people can actually see it, and share it with a friend if you think it would help them. I'll see you next week, so enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye!